So next level. So this level we can create first legal entity address. So first we need to create a legal entity. So to create a legal entity, what we have to do is first we have to create address. Then the same address whatever we created that can be used for the legal entity creation. Okay, let's do the first one. Okay, manage legal addresses. Go to the application. Here task button level. Search for manage legal addresses. So this is the one. Just open it. Manage legal addresses. Click on go to task button. Okay, so click on plus button to add it. And so this is the search criteria. Okay, here you should not enter anything, but here click on plus button to create a new value. Okay. Location. Legal entity address. Okay, just you can enter city code and it will be filled automatically. Yeah, this is fine. Just click on OK button. So we created one address. Okay, so this basically this address will be provided. This registration address will be provided by the client. So original address will be added in the detail. So for testing purpose, I had added some random address, but in real time, so we used to get the proper address details from the client. Okay, next setup, go to manage legal entity to create a new legal entity. Manage legal entity, search. So click on manage legal entity. Here you can select the scope. So legal entity, create a new one. Create new. Apply and go to task button. Now click on plus button to create a legal entity. If you want to know about more legal entity, then you can click on question mark. There you can see overview. Okay, so if somebody wants to know about theoretically, if somebody wants more data, theoretical data or theoretical material, so simply you can go here and so go to click on question mark. So every setup and every functionality level you can see this question mark, and if you click on question mark you can get this documentation. Okay, in the documentation level you can go ahead, you can view the all the details. Okay, yeah, so click on plus button. So give the name and Sony one legal entity. I can give the same as identifier. Start date can be given the past date. It's fine. So here we have two options and okay, payroll statutory unit and a legal employer. What is meant by payroll statutory unit and legal employer? So here you can see legal entity registered to report payroll tax and social insurances, and legal employer. So legal entity that employ people like. So these two things will be helpful for the employee registration. Let's say suppose one employee is joined today. Okay, we have multiple locations. Let's say in our company we are maintaining. Let's say in India we have a company. Okay, at Mumbai we have one branch, and Hyderabad one branch, and Chennai one branch. So all three locations, many employees were joining. So how we can identify whether this who can, I mean, the candidate from where he's working, from where he's joining. So those details we have to identify. So if you create, I mean, while you're creating a legal entity for each location, like for a Hyderabad location, for a Mumbai location, for a Chennai location, if you enable this legal employer, if you enable this legal employer, this legal entity will be linked into HCM information. Okay, while they creating a employee, okay, under this base location they can able to see this location, like if you are creating for a Hyderabad location this legal entity, then if you are enables legal employer, then HCM information people can able to see this Hyderabad location and assign to employee. So if the employee is related to Hyderabad location, then they will assign to legal employer. That means he is working for Hyderabad location. And next one, payroll statutory unit. So this is for payroll process. So this is required for the payroll process. For each employee, they should have some base location information. So based on that, they will process the payroll process. Okay, you have to enable both, and you have to enable both, because next level when we are doing some AP level setups, it would be required. So this employee, I mean this legal entity should be required for the uh, person or employee creation. Okay, just enable these two options. And next, legal address. And legal address, you can find it what we have created just now. Okay, just to go and search it. Click on search button if you want. You can search for Sony. This is the legal entry address we created. Click on OK button. So this TIN number will be provided by client. So whatever the TIN number or registered number provided from customer, then we can add the same. So we should not add the random in the real time. Real time, we will get everything documented, everything original details. Based on the identical document, we can enter these values, legal addresses or TIN number, whatever tax registration numbers. Okay, click on save. Save and close. So we created legal entity, and the same legal entity can be used for the primary ledger. Okay, done. So let's it completed. So we completed legal address, we created legal entity created. Now we can go ahead for the primary ledger. Okay, so make sure first legal entity should be created, then we can create the primary ledger. Okay, so click on done button. If you want to verify the legal entity again, you can view it. And so if you want to search for the legal entity, okay, select and add. So we created a Sony legal entity, right? Search for Sony legal entity. So this is the legal entity we created. Okay, done. So if you want to see the more details, here what we can edit is this one. These fields can be name can be modified, but address, if you want to add more addresses, if you want to change the address, you can edit it. Okay, click on save and close. Done. So legal entity is completed. Next, primary ledger configuration. Okay, manage primary ledgers. So search for manage primary ledgers. Click on manage primary ledgers. So here you can click on go to task button. Click on plus button to create a new primary ledger. So name Sony 1 primary ledger. Same name can be given here. Chart of account, you can select the chart of account. So Sony chart of account we created, right? So search for Sony 1. Yeah, this is the one we created. and accounting calendar. Again, we created a Sony calendar, Sony one calendar. And currency, anyhow, we are using a seeded USD currency. And accounting method, just we verified it, right? Standard accrual accounting method. So this can be used for our books of accounts or primary ledger. Okay, make sure. So primary ledger, every primary ledger will have a combination of 4 seasons. Okay, so chart of account, calendar, currency, and accounting convention method. So here there is no C, but yeah, so accounting convention method. So forever, by head method, we can put it as a 4 C's. Okay, so chart of account, accounting calendar, currency, and accounting convention method. These 4 C's are important or required to create a primary ledger. So you can see, even you can without accounting method also you can create a primary ledger. This is not a mandatory thing, but mandatory these three are mandatory. Okay, so we created a primary ledger. Okay, click on save and close. So primary ledgers can be created multiple primary ledgers. Okay, so regarding the multiple primary ledgers, we have some scenarios. Okay, I will explain. So when we got the time, like so multiple scenarios we have, but after this one, like primary ledger configuration is done. One day we'll discuss. So tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we'll discuss again multiple primary ledger when it is required, why it is required. Okay, so we created one primary ledger. So primary ledger is a combination of 4 seasons. So calendar, chart of account, currency, and accounting method. So these four are have been already configured. Okay, so calendar we created, chart of account we created. Okay, currency is already there, existing currency we can use it, or if you want to create a new currency, you can create a new currency. Okay, and accounting method. Accounting method also you can use the seeded value, or you can create a new accounting method and you can use it. Okay, so this is for primary ledger. You can create multiple primary ledgers, but that scenario we'll discuss tomorrow. Now assign legal entities. So whatever we created primary ledger, okay, that should be assigned to a legal entity. So here you can see assign legal entities. Click on select scope. So primary ledger, select and add it. Assign legal entities. Search for your primary ledger. Sony one primary ledger. So this is the one. The status you can see in progress. Okay. So once all the required setups completed, then it should be confirmed. So click on save and close. Now we are assigning this legal entity to a primary ledger. So this is the primary ledger we created, and also we have a legal entity. Search for your legal entity. So this is the legal entity. Apply and done. So we can add multiple legal entities. And we can add multiple legal entities to one primary ledger. Okay, but multiple primary, we can add the same legal entity to multiple primary ledgers. Okay, you cannot add the same legal entity to another primary ledger. But one primary ledger can have multiple legal entities. One primary ledger can have multiple legal entities. Here we have plus button. You can click on plus button and you can add, if you have different legal entities, multiple legal entities, you can add it. But only thing is the same legal entity, you cannot add it to another primary ledger. Okay. Then just to save and close. So we created one legal entity and we created one primary ledger. We assigned the same legal entity to the primary ledger. So once it is done, next specify ledger options. So this is very important, and this is very crucial and very important. So once you created a primary ledger, the main setup is specify ledger options. So you can select the scope. If it is primary ledger is not yours, then you can select scope and select your primary ledger. Since the primary ledger is same whatever we created, so then you can click on go to task button. If primary ledger not yours, then you can select your primary ledger under scope. Okay, so here you can see general information. Primary ledger we created, right? This is the primary ledger we created. This is the structure, a chart of account we created. This is currency we are using. Okay, everything is there what we created. Okay, so even calendar, first period, so standard accrual method, everything is there. If you want to change the first period, you can change it. If you want to change the accounting method, now we can change it. Okay, now add the general language. US, American US language. Let me search American US language, US American language. So you can select this and you can identify your language, your own language, then you can select it. Now we are just selected English, US English language. So this is a mandatory. Single star means it is a mandatory setup. So now period close level, this is a retained earning account. Okay. So we have created one account and retained earning account. So if this can be applied here. So here you can see this is account code combination. Now we can able to see what we have done in a setup level. So if you remember, we configured chart of accounts. Okay. Hey, sorry, just a minute. Okay, so these values you can remember. So while configuring the chart of account, we created segments, right? Company segment, chart of cost center segment, account segment, okay, product segment and feature segment. While you created, we have given a shortcut name, okay, a short form name, prompt name. So that is populating here. And this is the length we have given, displayed length. So this is showing like this. Okay, so these are the key flex fields, and these are the key flex fields as per our requirement, as per our company objects. We created this. Okay, so here the values you can identify. So these are the values we created. So select your company name and select our cost center. You can see this. These are the values we created while configuring chart of account or values level. So you can give some default product, future one also default. So click on OK button. So retain. What is retained earning account? Okay, this is related to period close activity. So if something is a difference in a auditing level, if you are getting surplus amount or extra amount or surplus amounts, whatever we got, so it will be transformed to retained earning account. So okay, for that reason we used to create this retained earning account. Click on OK button. Okay, so not only this, not only here, this one, accounting combination can be viewed at a transaction level as well. The same accounting setups, segment accounting setups will be viewed at a transaction level and every setup level also. Okay, this is the mandatory setup. So again, we'll come back to this specify ledger options while discussing on general ledger functionalities. We have many functionalities. Okay, so for each functionalities we can come back here and we can enable this of options, and we can do the this functional design. So we'll discuss again. Okay, for as of now, to basic configuration, so you can provide the mandatory fields and you can close it. So here these are not mandatory things, but yeah, while discussing this functionalities level, while we come back here and we can enable these features and we'll discuss it. Okay, so now we are just configuration the ledger. So just save it. Okay. Sometimes you will get this error. Don't worry. Click on save and close. Okay. Specify ledger options is completed. If you want to view again, you can view it. So this is done already. Okay. Then save and close. So specify ledger option setup is completed. Now we can assign the balancing segment value to ledger. So now what is balancing segment value? What is balancing segment value? So if you see here, so balancing segment value is like this company value. So we have some transactions. We have some based on our company, we used to create some transactions. So when you are reporting, when you are creating a report, you can select the company. So let's say if you have a US company, UK company, Australia company, and India company. So US level, there are many transactions, and UK level, Australia level, there are many transactions has been created in the system. If you want to specifically for US related transaction, you can go and search with the balancing segment value US. So then if you select the US related transactions, everything will be captured into report. Okay, so this balancing, how we can treat it as a balancing segment. So while configuring the chart of account, like while configuring the structure, so company value, like we have given primary balancing segment. Okay, for company value, we given primary balancing segment. So this value will be populated for this balancing segment. So here again, you can see there are two type of setups. Balancing segment value to ledger and a legal entity. What is the difference between two? So if you are doing legal transactions, nothing like if you are doing purchase activities, sales activities from your sub ledgers, then you can give the legal entity. If you are doing some transaction imported from third party application directly to ledger, so you are not doing any legal transaction from your sub ledgers, APR, AR model. So just this transaction has been processed in the third party application. You are just copying, you are just importing the data into JL. Okay, so in that case, you can assign to ledger. But if we are processing from the sub ledgers, then you can enter legal entities. Okay, that means the transaction whatever we created in sub ledgers, it has some legal proof and like legal evidentical transactions, like a tax invoice. So in the tax invoice, our legal tax number is there, everything will be there. Even tax amounts also will be included. Okay, so so we can go for this setup. Okay, you can go for anything. And so assign balancing segment to a legal entity or sorry, ledger or a legal entity. So I'm just explaining the difference between two values. So I'm just doing for the legal entity. So since we are doing a AP module also, it will be useful for our AP setups. So search for assign balancing segment value to legal entities. So you can select, make sure this is not a secondary ledger. We are doing a primary ledger level. So make sure you should select the second one. You should not select the secondary ledger. Okay. So select the second one. Now you can go ahead, click on select a primary ledger, apply go to task. So here you can see the legal entity has been there. Okay. So click on plus button. So value, company value. Search, click on drop down. Here you can see there are two companies as there. So we created two values at company level. We created two values, 10 and 20. Just select 10, save and close. So if you have another legal entity, let's say Sony legal entity 2, legal entity 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. If you have multiple legal entities, for each legal entity you can create a company. Okay, company means legal entity. Each legal entity should have one company value. So we created one primary ledger and one legal entity. We assigned each other. Okay, under legal entity we assigned one balancing segment as well. Click on save and close button. So assigning also completed. Now we have to run the accounting, accounting configurations. So same setup you can see here in the drop down list. So this is a mandatory thing. Here you can see review and submit accounting configuration. Click on go to task button. So this is a mandatory setup. There you can see your legal entity details, company value is there, address details are there, and the legal entity name is there. And here also ledger details are there. Okay, everything is expected. Like this balancing cubes are not created now. So if you submit this process, then balance cubes will be created. Click on submit button. Okay, so this process ID will be started 147 Now go to schedule process, tools, and scheduled processes. So we said like 6147, it is started. Make sure this should be succeeded. Okay, so backend balance cubes will be created for our setups. So whatever we created, primary ledger, legal entity, and chart of accounts we created, right? So everything will be processed in the backend. Okay, so once it is succeeded, then only that primary ledger previous when we see that primary ledger status is in progress. So that should be in a green tick mark. It should be confirmed. So that will happen only after this completion progress. Like every job should be succeeded. Okay, here every job should be succeeded. We can wait for some time, then it will be succeeded. So I will check what we have completed. So as of now, we completed these two. And also legal addresses and this one. ESS job also running. Once it is completed, you can verify the journal entry. We can verify the structure, how it is working. Okay. So let's process it. So seems it is succeeded. So you can see this 6147 and other jobs are succeeded. Click on home button. Now go to primary ledger and you can verify the primary ledger status. Managed setup and maintenance. Search for manage primary ledgers. Okay, open primary ledger. Search for your primary ledger. Now it is the status is confirmed. Now it is green. Okay, so successfully we created a primary ledger and assigned a legal entity to your primary ledger. Okay, so one more thing, Andy, we can configure the same setups from here as well. So now we created all the setups we have done from the project implementation stage. Okay, if you want to do this from here, you can also do it from here. The same setups you can see here. Okay, further setups will do from here. So first basic you should know about like what are the other functionalities there from where we can do the setups. I mean that project implementation level we can do, or directly from here setup level also we can do this. Okay, these are the two levels of setups we can do. So same, and everything is same. So whatever the setups we have done from here, the same setups we can do from here as well directly. You can search for the required setup and you can see, let's say manage uh, primary ledger or legal entity. So this is the setup. You can manage legal entity. You can go ahead and you can select your legal entity. You can view it same way. Sony legal entity. Yeah, you can view it. Here it is. Okay, right. Now the basic setups is completed. Now we are about to test our enterprise structure. Okay, to test our enterprise structure, okay, we have to add the rules. Okay, so let me